and welcome. You're watching the Policy Times Global Innovators and Entrepreneurs Show. This is an accelerated growth program where we select and invite some of the promising startups of the world, and we discuss with them how unique is their venture, how unique is the startup, and how is it going to disrupt the society positively. I'm really proud to introduce Biomoneta, one of India's rising infection biology startup, which has come up with such a very unique, innovative product, which is going to bring a lot of positive contribution and disruption in the society. I have the two co-founders of this startup, Dr. Janani Venkatraman, who is the co-founder and chief executive officer, and I have Mr. Arindam Ghatak, who is the co-founder and chief technology officer. Both of you welcome. And Dr. Janani, first question maybe, if you can kindly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your venture, your journey. Sure. and your venture.
Sure. Thank you so much, Akram. It's a pleasure to be here and to interact with you and with Dr.P.Sekhar. Thank you for inviting us. We are fans of what you do at Policy Times, and it's an absolute honor to use this platform to introduce both Biomoneta as well as our infection prevention product, the Z-Box. I myself, I'm a biophysicist by training, got my PhD from the Indian Institute of Science, did postdoctoral work in the US with Yale University, and came back to Bangalore in the mid-2000s to work with what was then India's, I think, premier R&D drug discovery facility, which was AstraZeneca in Bangalore, where we are right now. A lot of training in building new drugs for the bad bugs, as the saying goes. And it's from there that a lot of knowledge comes into what we're doing today. I'll stop there and maybe hand over to Arindam to introduce himself.
Thank you, Janani. Hi, Akram. My name is Arindam. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Biomoneta. I have a basic background of biophysics and microbiology from my undergraduation as well as from my graduation day. I graduated from University of Calcutta and then worked briefly in a systems biology company called Cellworks. Then we, along with Janani and other two co-founders, we ventured into Biomoneta. Biomoneta essentially develops technology which addresses various infection-related problems that a country like India faces. And one of our flagship technology called Z-Box, which has been validated widely over the past couple of years, much before Corona pandemic started. And just now we are hitting the market, and we hope and expect that Z-Box will bring a lot of positive contribution to the society and to the healthcare facilities of this country.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Janani, I want to come back to you. You had such a wonderful and outstanding background of work. Why have you thought of coming up with the concept with Biomoneta, and what is the unique product that you were coming up with? If you can describe, and then who are the stakeholders who came up and supported you in building such innovative product that you have?
Sure, thank you. Delighted to explain a little bit more. Today, Arindam and I are representing Biomoneta here today at this interview. But the fact of the matter is, most of the people in Biomoneta come from infection drug discovery backgrounds, which effectively means that entire focus was, okay, you have all these infections which can kill you, and many of them are resistant to known drugs. Is it possible to, create new medicines? That was the original focus. But somewhere along the way, we realized that, new drugs are extremely important, but it is just as important to find ways to prevent people from picking up those infections any which way. And when we started exploring this concept a little bit more, obviously we weren't talking only inside the team. We were talking to hospitals, we were talking to doctors, because obviously they are our first stakeholders, so to speak. And they had a very interesting suggestion right at the beginning. They basically said, before you build anything, right? I mean, great idea. You can prevent something instead of only trying to cure it. But maybe you should come and spend some time in a hospital, understand how we work. And then when you go and build something, it is actually something that will fit into our mode of operation, rather than, trying to retrofit something at a later point of time. So I spent a month with St. John's Hospital here in Bangalore. Mostly it's called an observational analysis, which means you just sort of follow the doctors, you understand what they do, you understand what the problems potentially are. But on day one, and I have had no medical background up to that point of time, right? All my work has actually been done in a company, in a lab. I walk into the ICU, and the first thing I see is a young 42-year-old woman who has just passed away. A young woman, nobody should die at 42, and she also had two small children at that point of time. The only problem was she was quite a severe diabetic. Now, when you're diabetic, you are prone to picking up a lot more infections than, say, regular people are who have better immune systems, if you will. And one of the kinds of infections that you typically pick up are these fungal infections which come via the air. They colonize your lung, and then it becomes very difficult to breathe. There are very few medicines in that particular situation. And this young mother had actually had to undergo a series of difficult surgeries until the point when the fungus, took her over and she had to give up her battle. And that was such a stark reminder of what it is that we were trying to do. And we realized that out of all the ways one could try to prevent infection, probably one of the first ways was to try and look at air. How do you make sure that the germs in the air around you are reduced? And hence, if you are a person who is vulnerable to these kinds of things, you are less at risk than in a normal situation. So a lot of consultation and work with hospitals and doctors in the initial phase. Our team itself has a combination of clinicians, of people with infection biology backgrounds, and of course engineering, because we're building a device. And over the past 5 years, we put all of this knowledge and customer-centric thought into building what is now our flagship product, the Z-Box. And I think Arindam will show you a little bit about the Z-Box, what it does and how it can be used. And that will probably also tell us.
Thank you, Janani, for the introduction and stating the problem. Why at Biomoneta we are looking at airborne infection and how to prevent them. So, like what Janani said just now, it's important to control infection. It's important to prevent a person from getting infected, especially in a hospital setting, which is otherwise known as the breeding ground for all the superbugs, which are resistant to most of the known antibiotics at present. In very early years of our experience, we realized that unless and until you kill microbes continuously at the source, you cannot prevent and control infection, especially in a country like India. So with this, we conceptualized a technology, what we today call Z-Box. Our motto was very simple. Our motto was we should breathe air and not germs in any environment. So like what Janani just mentioned, so during her interaction with the doctors in ICU environment, the doctors were telling her that they would imagine an ideal ICU setup to be something where each individual patient will have a virtual sterile bubble across them so that they don't pick up infection from the environment itself, which otherwise could be life-threatening, and there are practically no cure. So with this, we thought, why can't we create a technology which can just be plugged next to a patient, run continuously, create a bubble across the patient, and help the patient not to breathe any pathogen from the environment. So we looked at the conventional technologies which are there at present, and we figured out that most of the technologies are very good in two ways. One, they can work brilliantly with pollutants, dust particles, primarily in inanimate objects, or there are technologies which can work in absence of human. because those technologies are very hazardous to human physiological system. So we thought, let's create a technology which will not use any conventional method, so as to say, can be used continuously alongside human and can be able to trap and kill, eliminate actively microbes from the environment. So right now, ZBox technology has 5 different stages by which it uh, captures microbes from the environment, primarily from air, and then eliminate them. ZBox technology uses air as a carrier medium to pull in microbes from various environmental setup. Based on the device variant you use, the coverage area of that particular room changes. Inside that core part of the technology, we have a smart airflow system which allows the air to passes between an array of active surface. We use a specialized electronics to exploit a parameter, a property of microbes which are universal, which is called zeta potential. The electric field basically traps these microbes from free flowing air onto these surfaces. Once the microbes come in contact with the surface, the active surface eliminates them, destroys them immediately, and the devices basically release out air free of germs, free of microbes. Towards this end, I will just show you a short video describing the technology, and then I will go into details of the features and what kind of validations we have done so far.
Excellent.
Safe to be used alongside humans, critical care patient also eliminates airborne pathogens with 99.999% efficiency, much superior as compared to any of the competitor products that are there in the market. So ZBox technology So ZBox right now, as I told previously, can eliminate 99.999% microbes from the air, which has been validated by ICMR labs. In a real world scenario, in a hospital ICU or any office environment or anywhere, ZBox has the ability to eliminate 99.9%, which is close to 100 in a real life scenario. ZBox is not is meant. ZBox has ZBox. Sorry, can I just do this again? Sure. As I mentioned previously, ZBox can eliminate 99.999% airborne microbes, which has been validated by NABL ICMR accredited labs. In a real world scenario, ZBox has the capability of eliminating 99.9% of airborne microbes. ZBox works on a wide spectrum of microbes, be it bacteria, be it virus, be it fungi. ZBox is very democratic in nature. It doesn't discriminate microbes based on the names. It can even eliminate the toughest microbes like Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which causes TB in human.
Yeah.
Zbox, can be plugged alongside patient. It doesn't release any forms of chemicals or anything which can otherwise cause, which could otherwise be harmful to human. Zbox is the technology, and the device variants are very easy to be used. Just plug and play devices, doesn't require any form of maintenance, which is very critical, and does not consume any power.
Excellent. Janani, I want to come to you with a very,
Mhm.
because you handle strategy and management of the company. The first question I want to ask that, wonderful, we understood the technology and its advantage benefits. What is your strategy to make or take this product at the national level and the international level? What are the kind of challenges and opportunities you have, and what kind of collaborators you are looking for? What kind of partners or collaborators who are looking for, which can take this technology and product to the national scale and maybe to the global scale? That is one. The second thing is, I'm sure there are many other technologies which are already there available in the market, right? Now, the big part we understood from the COVID crisis or COVID situation, that when a new technology comes in, there is a lot of a trust gap or trust factor in terms of convincing people about your new product or new technology. How are you taking this product, and what is your strategy in terms of convincing people that here it is a product which you can trust and you can accept? So in these two fronts, if you can light up a bit
Oh,
on.
absolutely. All fantastic questions. Let me just start off by saying that, it all starts from the fact that when you have a technology like this, even though we originally started off by looking at hospital type environments and people potentially at home who need care, recovering from chemo or surgery and so on and so forth. Today, it can be used in an enormous different variety of places, right? We talked potentially about IVF clinics, tissue culture labs. Even now, as we try and recover from the pandemic, even places like schools and hotels, basically anywhere where people gather and there's a possibility of, spreading infection from one place to the other. Now, the minute you actually have such a wide range of applications, I think one of the most critical factors is to understand what kind of partners you need. Because at the end of the day, we're basically a small startup. We built what we believe can be a disruptive product, but today we work with some distributors and we work with partner hospitals who are able to give us feedback. But ideally, we want to actually be in a situation where we have, say, manufacturing partners, where we have distribution partners. Maybe you're actually talking about large companies which already are in the clean air space and who already have some of these capabilities. We would love to be in a position where we strategically partner with folks like this to deliver great technology to the people who will actually use them at the end. Because if the end users don't get it, what is the point of building anything at all? So partnerships over the next year are going to be our absolute focus. Our first focus will be India, because, well, we're here, we're building for India, we're making in India, we've been supported by the Indian government to do all of these things. So critical to look at India first. But infection, especially in clinical and now home settings, is such a global problem that we believe there's a lot of application across the world. One of the first markets we're actually looking at outside India and Middle East, as well as South and Southeast Asia. That's where our first focus is going to be.
Excellent.
So let me answer Akram's second question. Why should people trust us, right? I mean, with the present pandemic, people have actually understood the importance of having a cleaner environment, especially cleaner air. There are multiple products which are there in the market with multiple claims and everything. So it's very hard for a consumer to actually differentiate between the product. So from our experience, like Zbox has been validated by ICMR labs, and it can eliminate airborne pathogens with 99.999% efficiency, very few companies across the globe has validated their devices against airborne pathogens. Most of the devices that you see in the market doesn't validate themselves against airborne pathogens. ZBox devices has been the device of choice for premier research institutes like the National Center for Biological Sciences, the Institute for Stem Cell Research, to conduct world-class biological research in stem cell biology, because they need to maintain a very low bioburden environment to harbor their stem cells and so on. Hospital ICUs are presently using ZBoxes to prevent the cross-contamination and transmission of pathogens and diseases in their ICU settings. So with all this validation, with all these credentials, we believe that ZBox should be the device of choice for any critical care or any place which requires low bioburden.
Excellent.
Akram, I think you're saying very simply, right? When you have new technology, it is so hard to differentiate. So instead of trying to really, go through all the technology, I mean, you should absolutely do it if that's what you would like to do. But another way to look at it is to say that, if doctors, ICU doctors, if IVF labs and, world-class biological facilities trust us, maybe we are bringing something real to the table. I actually think that is pretty much what we wanted to say, unless we want to show the various places where today it is used. But I think we have actually covered that. Yeah, we should just want to stop with this. Go to the advisor slide.
Yeah. So maybe
please go to the advisor slide. Yeah. Let's go to the team slide for a minute and then the advisors slide. Today, we are a very small team. We are a team of only about 10 people inside the company, but we work with a larger set of 40 to 50 people as we actually build this product and take it to the market. We've already introduced Arindam and ourselves. I should introduce a third member of our team who is a very, very talented and senior engineer, gold medalist from the IIT of Madras with over 4 decades of experience in building world-class engineering products. He's a polymath with experience in IP as well. So very fortunate to have him as part of our team. But even more fortunate, and I think when you're building new technology, when you're in fields where the background work that you do is so important, it's very important to also have a world-class scientific advisory board. And here again, incredibly fortunate to have brought on board very recently Dr. Kotoch, who's the ex-Director General for the Indian Council for Medical Research. We have on board some of our old advisors from AstraZeneca, such as Dr. Shantanu Datta and Dr. Anand Kumar. Very fortunate again to be associated with the president of Gangajan, which is probably the country's only company building phage-based therapies for infection. And of course, Dr. Sujit Biswas, who is an expert advisor to DRDO and ISRO, but now was also helping us build our devices. So very privileged to be associated with incredible people, which is really the only way you can bring world-class products to customers.
My final question to both of you. Excellent. The question, any last message to your future investors, maybe your collaborative partners, and the overall startup ecosystem of India? Any positive message you want to give?
I think today it's an incredible time to be as part of the startup ecosystem in India, especially in the life sciences. One of the problems in the life sciences, of course, is that the external ecosystem is not yet mature enough to pick up a lot of products and take them to market, but there's an incredible amount of support that is actually coming from the government. So a lot of government schemes, a number of science or life science-based startups that have sort of come to life in the past 7 to 10 years has happened only because of government schemes. And we would not have existed if it had not been for the Department of Biotechnology. So very, very grateful to them. And that's very important to actually say. But I also want to make the point, you can build great technology, but the only way to go to market is if we are able to find the outside, not go to market, but to make huge global market impact, is to have the right distribution partners, the right go-to-market partners. And I really hope our ecosystem is able to support us to be able to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, Arindam.
So like what Janani said, we are, grateful to Department of Biotechnology for supporting us from our inception days. And they have been doing so for the past couple of years. I should also thank Department of IT/BT of Government of Karnataka, who has supported us in our journey. And India, especially the ecosystem that we are in, it's a great place to work. There are various new technologies which are coming up from this ecosystem, which are not, though ideally not meant for the present pandemic, but we are figuring out ways how the existing technologies can be used to make our life back to normal. So it's a great time to be in this sector, and we hope that with ZBox and other technologies which are there, we should be able to make an impact in the society.
Just one small point to add over there. Arindam talked about how multiple technologies are important in this pandemic times. We should call out the incubators we are part of, CCamp, which is inside the GKVK campus, as well as IKP in Hyderabad. They are both fantastic life science incubators, which are actually collating large numbers of life science startups to make a difference in these times.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Janani and Arindam, for talking to us and sharing a lot of important facts about your startup, your venture. I now want to go to our mentor and advisor of this special series. We have Dr. P.Sekhar to share your observation.
Thank you, Akram. Thank you, Dr. Janani, Arindam. ZBox seems to be coming at the right time. Because today there are a lot of European companies who are saying that they got these type of products and they are trying to enter India, which will be good, which will really complement. It will not compete because the market is huge. Because that if you say anytime that my product is the only product, market does not take it. Suppose we say that yes, there is an European product, there is an American product, and I am so and so. It has a good beginning, and the promoters come with the right set of background. Not only personally, they have an excellent background. They are all associated with the Institute of Science Bangalore, which is one of the topmost institutes in the world. IIT Madras. This also is having a huge entrepreneurship cell, innovation cell, so many things that they are doing, and they are also somebody who also command respect. And because of that, the products have to come with certain level of commitment. And another good point I see is that they are already having the first level of funding, which means a deep level of due diligence has been done, and they are working closely with government. So it all adds up to the overall success of the product. And I'm sure with the type of approach which the promoters have, it will be one of a good success. And of course, the last mile is, which we are not talking today, is the cost of the product. Cost of the product has to be really good, which is not part of today's agenda. But I'm sure the cost will be commensurate with the expectation. Then this will go into maybe best wishes for this to be one of the unicorns. which should go well. The cost is good, be prepared to be a unicorn. The cost is not good, still the success will be guaranteed. That much I can say.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sekhar, for sharing your observation. Janani and Arindam, first of all, yes, as Dr. Sekhar said, wonderful innovation, wonderful product, much needed and high demanded product. The background that you carry also holds a huge weightage to the success of the product that you are having. The third is incredible team that you have with you. I think these are a lot of advantages I see in these startups, and we wish you all the best. All our viewers, yes, this is the most important part. The Biomoneta, the innovation that we presented to you, has a lot of advantage. Anyone who would be interested in this would be very happy to connect you. The important part, Policy Times, as an institution and implementation facilitator, as Janani said, that India has incredible innovations. We have innovators like Janani, who has got such wonderful product. Now, what we need a support system to take this innovation to the people who needs this support. So Policy Times would be extremely proud and happy to help innovators like Janani and innovations like Biomoneta to take this kind of product to the global scale. Thank you. Keep watching the Policy Times.